The color and swatches panels are often used in conjunction with each other. If you have the default layout of Flash, the color palette is indicated by this mini icon of a palette, and the swatches panel by this icon that looks like a grid of squares. If you don't see them here, you can find them by going to the Window menu and then choosing Color or Swatches. You can click on either one of the icons to access both panels. As you can see, they're grouped together, and you can easily toggle back and forth between them by clicking on the labeled tabs at the top. The color panel is a useful tool for creating or recreating specific colors for use in your Flash movies. The swatches panel is basically like a library of colors. It comes with a bunch of default web-safe colors that you can choose from, and you can add your own custom colors as well, which we'll do in just a moment. Before we start working, I'm going to drag the color and swatches panel set out from the Flash Chrome and expand them so they stay open while we're working. So with the color panel, you can define the fill and stroke colors that you want to use. If I click on the pencil icon, I can define a stroke color. So I'll just click in the color area below and pick green. If I click the paint bucket icon, I can define a fill color. I'll slide this slider down and choose a lighter green. Notice that when I choose a color, the color is updated at the bottom of the toolbar over on the bottom right side of the screen and is also shown at the bottom of the color panel. The hexadecimal value for the color is also displayed, as are the corresponding values for the color with hue, saturation, and brightness as indicated by H, S, and B, as well as the red, green, and blue channels indicated by R, G, and B. I'm going to click the radio button next to G for green and move the slider up and down. You can see in the color window at the bottom how the new color looks in comparison to the old color. The numerical values and the hexadecimal values for the amount of green update as I slide as well. I could also type in the value for a desired color. I'll type in 0 for R, 0 for G, and 255 for B, and I'll get a pure, bright blue. Notice also the value with the label of A. This indicates the alpha value of my color, or opacity. 100% is totally opaque, and 0 is totally transparent. So I'll type in 50 here and hit Enter on my keyboard. You can see how the color changes in the preview window, and I'll quickly grab my rectangle tool and draw a rectangle on the stage. And of course, it's filled with the blue color that I can see through since it's partially transparent. I'm just going to delete that rectangle. In the color palette, I'm going to change my alpha back to 100. And now back near at the top, I'm going to click on this icon with the black and white squares. This sets the stroke to black and the fill to white. If I click the rightmost icon, the Swap Colors icon, it changes the colors so the stroke is white and the fill is black. I'm going to swap these one more time so we have a black stroke with a white fill. Now I'll click on the paint bucket so I can modify the fill, and click on the icon of the white rectangle with the red line drawn through it. This indicates that there will be no color for the fill. Notice how the color box and all the controls at the bottom have gone away. In the color type drop-down here, it says none, since we don't have any kind of fill at all. And if I draw a rectangle, it's got a black stroke with no fill. I'm going to delete that rectangle. So the color panel is a great way to mix up new colors or type in the values of colors that you know you want to use. Well, what if you want to be able to save those colors for later? That's where the swatches panel comes in. You can see how the swatches panel has a whole bunch of web-safe colors loaded in for you. To save a custom color, I'll go back to the color panel, and in the drop-down menu, I'll choose solid color. We'll explore the other options of linear gradient, radial gradient, and bitmap fill in a different movie. So I'm going to pick a custom color and then flip over to the swatches panel again. As I hover over the gray, empty part of the panel with my mouse, you'll notice the cursor's changed to a paint bucket, and when I click, my custom color is added to the swatches at the lower left-hand corner on the bottom row. Now when I click on a drawing tool like the rectangle tool, notice that the new color is now available in the color pickers for the stroke and the fill, both in the toolbar and in the property inspector. You can use the eyedropper tool in conjunction with the swatches palette to build a custom color palette that you can use for creating new graphics that use the same color scheme. First, in the Colors panel, I'll click the Paint bucket so Flash knows that we're talking about fills, not stroke. Now I'll pick the eyedropper tool and select this yellow color in the Kinet Eco logo. Now I'll open the Swatches panel again, wait for the mouse to turn into the Paint bucket, and click to drop in my new swatch. Well, actually, it already put it in there for us. I'm going to do this again for the brown color. In this way, you can build a custom palette in your Swatches panel so you can use those colors to create color-coordinated graphics in future Flash documents. You can even save these colors to be used in another FLA. In the Swatches panel, if I click on this icon of the arrow pointing down, I get the context menu. If I pick Save Colors, I can save my palette as a .clr file or a Flash color file. You could also choose a color table file or ACT. I'm going to choose CLR and save my color palette to the desktop. Now I can start a new blank FLA file. And then in the Swatches panel, go to the Context menu and choose Add Colors. Now I can navigate to my CLR file and load in those colors into this FLA, so I have my custom colors available to me here. And there they are. I'm going to close this FLA and return to the previous one. If you're going to make a custom color palette, I would recommend first getting rid of the standard colors first. You can do this by going to the Swatches panel context menu and choosing Clear Colors. Here now I just have black, white, and a gradient swatch that goes from white to black. Now I'm going to add in a few custom colors. From here, I could save my CLR file. Now when I load in the CLR file in a new document by choosing Add Colors, I'll be loading in just the custom colors instead of the entire standard color set. Notice the other choices in the context menu. I could load default colors, which gives me the standard color palette that's the very default in every new document. Notice that blew away my custom colors, but I could load those in again by choosing Add Colors and navigating to my CLR file. I could also save as default. Flash will ask me if I'm sure I want to save the current color palette as the default for all documents. I don't want to right now, so I'll say no. You can also sort your swatches by color, and you can also replace colors. So this is basically where I can navigate to my CLR file again and load that in instead of the palette I've got. Finally, if there's a swatch that you don't want anymore, you can click on it once and then choose Delete Swatch. You can also choose a swatch and duplicate it if you want a copy of it. You can also add custom gradients to your Swatches panel, and we'll look at how to do that in another movie. So the Color and Swatches panels give you a lot of control in terms of creating and saving colors. You can also use them in conjunction with the eyedropper tool to create a custom palette of colors that you can save and reuse in other FLA files.